Hey everyone, welcome to this second tutorial in Twitter API version 2 series. In this tutorial, we are going to learn further about Twitter API version 2 and getting the tweets. In the last tutorial, just let's have a recap. We learned about the basics of API and getting the tweets of a user. In there, we pull the tweets of Elon Musk through the API. So the requirements are similar. If you are new to this video, just go to that video to see what are the requirements. Still, I'm saying it again. You need Python and Twitter developer account, and you need this when you complete this tutorial and get whatever has been taught to you in this tutorial. So just treat it. So, in this tutorial, we are going to explore it further, and mainly we will be looking at for additional parameters. So we will talk about what additional parameters in a while, but so this is the main aim of this tutorial. Let's jump into our code. Yeah, so this was our code from the last tutorial, and if you are new to this tutorial, go to the last tutorial to see the code. There is only one thing missing here, and that is bearer bearer token. I have pasted my bearer token at the top, which I have kept hidden since it is unique to me and it's a secret code, so I don't want to show it here. But after you get the approved developer account and created an app, you need to paste your bearer token here, and just you would be good to go. So there we are using bearer token to authenticate our request. So this bearer token, this variable needs to be assigned a value here, and which would be taken from your app which you created after you get access of your developer account. So right, so let's start it from here and um, just see run it once. So just to see what we are getting here. Yeah, so we have got these tweets by Elon Musk. These result count is 10. So we have got 10 tweets by default, and by default there is nothing extra in the URL. So just like you go and visit a website and you go to URL, you go to About Us, or you go to Services, you get different URLs. In a similar way to API also, you have to modify URL to get different data. So this is the most basic URL when you are when you want to get the tweets of a user. But if you need some additional parameters, you need to modify this URL. You see that. First of all, just have a look at what default parameters are we getting without any additional parameters which we have provided in the URL. See, we just get the ID of a tweet and text. That's it. And in the last, we get the metadata. So by default number of tweets we pull through this request is 10, and we have got this newest ID and oldest ID. This would be clear in some other tutorial what you do with that. So yeah, so this is the default. Now we can do a lot of changes with this. If you go to Twitter and you see the documentation, so this is Twitter API version 2 documentation. You can go through this all the fields and have, a, have an idea of what are the parameters, what are the URLs you can, what are the changes you can do in the URL to get more data in a tweet for a tweet. So uh, we will take suppose we want to here this is like we get the Twitter tweet fields, user fields, media fields, post fields, and text fields. So you can see here this is the URL, and here they are they are adding this additional field, tweet fields equals to public metric. Let's see if we add this in our URL, what would, what would we get? So now we have added this. Alright, let's run it. This code is not completely visible. Let me run our program. So you would get public metrics additional to what you were getting earlier. Yeah. So earlier you were just getting ID and text, but now you are getting this public metric. So for this tweet, how many likes this tweet got, and this is the quote count. So if you don't know quote tweet, it is like when you are retweeting some tweet with some additional text that you are giving, or maybe some emoji, then it is known as quote tweet. So this is quoted 976 times, and this is the reply. This tweet received the 16549 and retweet counted 16637. So in this way, you can get the data of each tweet. So we have got those 10 tweets still because only tweet fields has been added and nothing more, and we are getting the tweet fields in public metrics. Suppose if you want more tweets, then you can add the is a parameter known as max result, and you can suppose you need 30 tweets, so let's say you write 30, and now it will provide 30 tweets of Elon Musk with the public data and everything. Yeah, so result count here is 30. And the public metric data is similar. So these are all the tweets. The last tweet by Elon Musk was Happy Father's Day. Yeah. So you have got two additional data. You have redefined the URL by adding two additional data. That is, one is public metric and the other is max result. So suppose you want to pull 1,000 tweets of Elon Musk, let's say 200 for now, then it won't be able to get 200 tweets in a single instance. Yeah, so the max results query parameter 200 is not between 5 and 100. So you can only get 500 and 100 tweets in a single instance. So since minimum number of tweets that you can pull for a user are 5 and maximum are 100, so you just have to take care that this maximum result count, the value should be less than 100 and greater than 5. So let's suppose we need 40 tweets, then you just put in 40 here and run it to get 40 tweets of Elon Musk. So you get 40 tweets here, and the first or the latest tweet is still Happy Father's Day, and other parameters are similar. So let's change this since it is more data. Let's keep it small. Let's say we need 80 tweets, so we put here 80 and then run it to get 80 tweets of Elon Musk. So we have this data and we get 80 tweets here. The first tweet, as you can see, is still Happy Father's Day, and there are more tweets. Yeah, regarding this. These are some replies also, but these are counted as a tweet, so these are covered as well in this tweet. So you have learned about two things, two additional things that you can add in the URL to get more data. One is max results and other is public fields, public metrics. Additionally, similarly, you can get more data by doing further research, like this is one expansion equals to author ID, user field equals to description. All right. Let's add this expansion equals to author ID. Let's move the next results because you have got the idea. So if you want tweets more than 100 for a user, there is a method which I will talk about later. But for now, we are just exploring what additional parameters we can get. So here I am adding this one additional parameter, that is author ID. So we will get author ID is this. So we all know that author ID is unique ID and it will be same in all the fields. So it is provided. This is additional information also provided. The ID is this, name is Elon Musk, username is Elon Musk. So we already know the author ID because we are getting these tweets with the author ID. You can see here. We are using this user ID to get the tweet. How did you get this user ID? This is explained in the tutorial number 1. We use this URL to get the user data, which is provided here. It was similar to this data. This data. Yeah. So we have got ID, name, username along with all the tweets. Alright guys, so we have got 3 additional parameters. Now let us explore more. So here in data dictionary, just explore all these one by one. You need to explore it one. Everything cannot be covered in a tutorial, so you would get more and more data here. So let's see here we have, this is the simplest tweet URL. So you get only the default value, that is ID and the text. Now we have this additional field. This is attachment for ID created at public metrics and source. So here we can add, so metric field public metrics we have already done here. Yeah, this tweet count and retweet count and all that. Additionally, we can have these parameters also. So if in the tweet fields, if you need, there are 4 or 5 parameters, then you have to write every parameter separated by a comma, like this. Yeah, so let's copy this so that we will get additional data. Matrix, let me, yeah, so now we will run it and we will get all the tweet fields for each field. So we have got the author ID, we have got the time ID and public matrix. So we have already had this ID, public matrix and text. ID and text was the default data. Public matrix we have added here. Created text we have added here. Author ID we have asked for here. If there is any attachment, that will be provided as well. So yeah, Twitter author ID you can see it is same that we are using here, and created at is like maybe useful to you because you want to know the date. So it is 20 June 2021. So I think Elon Musk has been busy since then. He has not tweeted for almost a day. And this is the time. So this time and date format is similar in each. So if you want to do some text operations on time and text and everything, so you can use this format to extract the time and these values. Yeah, so we have got these all these parameters. Now if we want to add some additional parameter, we have to write this and provide that parameter. Suppose we want to get 15 results, so just write max is equal to 15 with, there should be and in between this expansion and this. So, and if you want some additional, again you need to use and provide that. Let's run it. So now we have got 15 results and all these values are same like author ID and created result, etc. So now you have got the idea about how you can modify the URL to get whatever you want. So you have done with tweet fields. So if you want only a single thing in tweet field, you just have to ID or attachment, just delete those and you would get only the created as, that is the time and date and for the symmetric slide. Number of likes, retweets, co-tweets, comments, etc. Yeah, so let's run it to see what we get. So we have got 15 tweets. We now have only the created ad, ID is default, text is default, and public meeting, and that's what we had provided here. We have removed author ID, so it has not provided author ID. So in a similar way, you can modify the URL to get whatever you want. All right, so you can go through everything in this tutorial, in this Twitter documentation, and you will get to know what are the metrics, like what are the impressions of tweet, retweet, and the post tweet, like, reply. These everything has been provided here, and you can add this in your URL to get the data. Tweet is equals to public metrics that we have already used. Extension equals to media key public metrics that we have used. So in a way, you can get all of the data from here. Yeah, just go through this documentation, and if you have any problem, you can write your comment in the comment section, and I will try to reply it as soon as possible. So I think we have had enough of additional data that we need to require with the tweet. So we have got it, and for additional information, you can refer to the documentation. So I think this is all for today.